I chose the movies Still Alice and Endgame. Both of these movies portray an illness that is terminal and cannot be treated, really just to be in comfortable stages. A terminal illness is a disease that cannot be cured or treated. Most times it's at its final stages, such as stage 4 cancer, and memory loss like Alzheimer's dementia. Someone with a terminal illness really could live for days, months, or even years. Doctors typically can't give you a date a lot of times or even an exact time that someone could have because of the illness. It really just depends on how well your body is, and how much the illness is really doing to your body. Also, people can be different. Someone who has stage 4 cancer could easily live longer than someone else who has stage 4 cancer because everybody's body's different. The doctors in these movies mostly are there for the patients to be comfortable and aware of their illness. One thing discussed with both of the movie The Endgame is palliative care, which is something that practices the relief of suffering with a patient, mostly to do with their mental state as far as the illness that they have, making a patient feel comfortable and come to terms with death and how their end will come at some time, in the matter, of whenever that's ready. A lot of times patients think they're ready for that part and they're not. So palliative care is something that helps them address what's going to happen coming into due time. Addressing their overall outlook on death and how they can help their family come to terms with it as well. In the end game, the family that they showed was really struggling, but when she was comfortable and she was there to discuss that she's happy, even though she's dying, she's so happy to have all her family around and things like that. That really helps the patient's family. Also, a lot of the patients in the end game had their last wishes, and a lot of times the last wishes of a patient really helps as well with them to come to terms with what's happening. And in the movie The End Game, also, the doctors are really just focusing on how to help them with what death really is. Being aware of their illness is really important, and the outlook on all of it's really important. As far as the other movie I watched, Still Alice, it's about a woman who has Alzheimer's disease. She gets it very young, which I looked into that, and a lot of times you really don't start getting Alzheimer's or memory loss until you're 60 or 70. A lot of times more 70 than 60. And Alzheimer's disease is a common type of dementia. It's basically the beginning memory loss, like mild memory loss, until most of your memory is completely gone. This could mean names of family members, your kids' names. This could mean dates. This could mean things that you've done in your past or where you work or where you're at. In the movie, the main character is on a run and she gets lost. She has no idea where she's at. And that is exactly one of the reasons why most people who do have Alzheimer's or dementia do end up getting someone around the clock that can help them. A family member, maybe getting somebody else that's not a family member to help, could be easier too. It really just depends. Dementia or Alzheimer's, it really has a big effect on your neurological thoughts and basically fades most of your memory away. Like I said, it could be really important things that you had going on in your life or really something small. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it's temporary loss. As far as something happens right now, if I had dementia, I would forget. As far as something that I've known for 20 years, that I could still forget. In the movie Still Alice, she really struggles with the fact that Her family really gets upset when she doesn't remember her kids' names. And honestly, that would hurt anyone, of course. But with Alzheimer's, it's really something that it depends on their onset and exactly how fast they're losing that. Someone could get diagnosed with it and then they could go so long with a lot of memory and then it's gone one day, or it could fade as time goes on. Um, with the specific kind that she had in the movie, it was something that was given to her genetically, and she was basically told that her kids could have it, and her kids got tested, and one ended up having the gene, which having the gene meant that she was definitely going to get Alzheimer's. There's no doubt about it. You could be a carrier, or any, even you, with a parent being a carrier, your kid has 50-50 chance, and that's honestly how logic goes with that. But Alzheimer's is really something that puts a lot of hardship on a family, and that's why sometimes it's important, instead of a family member taking care of you as much as you would think it would be so much helpful, sometimes it's okay to have outside help come in and help out. Um, Another thing I wanted to discuss too with the movies, they both definitely put out a message of really getting the background of what an illness can do to you, or what the illness is doing to you. In both of the movies, the main characters, or the people in the movie, really got to know the ins and out of exactly what illness they had and the background of where it was from, what it came from. Knowing, getting the most information you can about something like this, a terminal illness, is really important. So that way you can see if there's ways to treat it, as far as slow it down, which a lot of times there might be a couple ways, but once you get to so many, there's nothing else you can really do. Or even just keeping it mild, as far as like she would take medication, Alice, but it wasn't going to give her memory back. But it was helpful where she had good days and she had bad days. Overall, I feel like the movies really were focusing on coming to terms with having a terminal illness and the outcome of their experience. Knowing the knowledge of your illness is really important, and getting your last experiences of what you have left is really important as well. Um, you know, it's really nice to have your last few moments of happiness. And I feel like that's what palliative care is really working on. So I would say that it's definitely something I learned.